Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome back with Najman Sari, and we're going to connect with the Quran. And inshallah, this is season 4. We are starting with the new series of groups of surahs, and which starts with Surah Furqan. So it's a fourth group of the Quran, as from the Mufassir that I take. And inshallah, we will get into that, but just now we will listen to a recording of the first 9 ayahs of Surah Furqan. So, A'udhu Billah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض ولم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك وخلق كل شيء فقدره تقديرا واتخذوا من دونه آلهة لا يخلقون شيئا وهم يخلقون ولا يملكون لأنفسهم ضرا ولا نفعا ولا يملكون موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا وقال الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا إفك افتراه وأعانه عليه قوم آخرون فقد جاءوا ظلما وزورا وقالوا أساطير الأولين اكتتبها فهي تملى عليه بكرة وأصيلا قل أنزله الذي يعلم السر في السماوات والأرض إنه كان غفورا رحيما وقالوا ما لهذا الرسول يأكل الطعام ويمشي في الأسواق لولا أنزل إليه ملك فيكون معه نذيرا أو يلقى إليه كنز أو تكون له جنة يأكل منها وقال الظالمون إن تتبعون إلا رجلا مسحورا انظر كيف ضربوا لك الأمثال فضلوا فلا يستطيعون سبيلا.
Sadaqallahu al-Azim. So before I get into the translation of these first 9 ayahs, I still want to stay with the overview, with the idea of the overview of first of the groupings of these surahs, and then specifically of Surah Furqan. So up to now we've come up to Surah 25. That's which Surah Furqan is. It does mean the criterion. We'll get into it. But just again, I love getting into an overview because we're starting a fresh new series of surahs, and they will start from Surah Furqan, and they go all the way. There'll be 8 surahs, and there'll be Surah Furqan, Surah Shu'ara, Surah Namal, Qasas, Rum, and Luqman, and Sajda. So these are 8, and they're all Makki surahs again. And after Surah Sajda, we have Surah Azab, which is the Madani surah. So in a sense, this group is a reflection of how it came from the group that before we did, from Surah Yunus all the way up to Surah Nur, where Nur was the Makki surah, and all the others, Maaf. Surah Nur was the Madani surah, and all the others were Makki surahs. So that's how these bouquets or these groups have been. The one before that, starting with Surah Al-Fatiha to Surah Baqarah and Al Imran, and then Nisa and Maida. So they were. Fatiha was the Makki, and the next four were the Madani. Then after that, we had from after Surah Maida, we had Anam, Araf, Anfal, and Tawbah. They were just two, but these are very long surahs. That's why you have less of them. And two were Makki and two were Madani, finishing with Surah Tawbah. After Surah Tawbah, we had the long series from uh, Surah number 10, which was Surah Yunus, all the way up to Surah Nur. And now we have another Makki bouquet, starting with Surah Furqan, and then we'll get on to the other ones as well. But this here, what it is that the theme of these surahs is again around, because it was in the Makki phase, it's highlighting Tawheed, Risala, because it is with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the Makki Quraysh were having an issue. Even the Jews were having an issue because they wanted it to be from the Bani Israel. So these are the kind of overview of what these surahs are going to be looking at in general. Then we will come into also the surah of this. The main angle in Surah Furqan is to showcase or to defend the Quran and Rasulullah. So there are answers to the objections the Quraysh made by his opponents, and then also at the same time, it goes, this is the beauty of the Quran. We think we're just rote reading and that's it, and it doesn't matter whether we understand or not. But Allah is giving the reply to the opponents of what is it that making you doubt it. What is it making? So he's giving, first he sort of, it's raising the objections that they give, asatirul awwaleen, these are just stories of the past. So then it challenges that, and it takes it, and it rejects that, your objections are totally baseless. And then it goes on that, why is it you have a problem with the Quran? And the problem that comes up usually is, why is it him that it came to? We are much better equipped. And while it's talking primarily as the Quran as it was revealed to the Quraysh, we need to take cognizance that even today, the whole thing around us is always about, how can it be that they are on the right track? No, we are. If Allah has blessed us with wealth, if we are blessed, we are powerful, we are this, how can it not be that we are the blessed people? We saw this when we did Surah Kaf, when it was a person of the garden. If I'm blessed here, I'm definitely going to be blessed in the Akhirah, if there is an Akhirah. So that's also their thing, if there is. So the same thing in our current affairs, the world, even when you take things to a court and you challenge them for what is being done, this blindness of the heart, when you are not willing to look at what's in front of you, primarily because of your ego, because of your status. Because if you come and listen to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all these powerful Quraysh tribes, how can it be from the Hashimi group, and they're not even such a top class a tribe? We are the custodians of the Kaaba. So all that impinges on coming back to ego. And if you want, the beauty of it, I'm sure whatever I say is often, you feel, there she goes again, she's repeating the same thing again and again. But the fact is that Allah repeats the message in different ways. The fact that I'm not able to deliver, I just do it in the same way, maybe Allah forgive me for that, but then that's not carrying it. But the beauty is that the Quran is a reminder. It keeps reminding us with the same ways of the same thing. In fact, so much so that, in fact, whatever we read, ruku-wise, they did sort of specify 5, 7 pages or 10 pages. You will always find the theme of Akhirah reoccurring, and it comes back to it. But I'm still just on giving you on the introduction of what it is. So it is the 25th surah of the Quran. It is got 77 ayahs, and its name is Furqan, Farq, distinction, criteria. We have a few words to distinguish, and I'm not giving you all the others, but Farq and Furqan is the criteria, the distinction. So discussing the concept of truth and falsehood, and emphasizing how you need to be very clear on that. You know, the beauty in our faith is that we don't have any concept of racism, of this, of that. All tribes are the same. We will come through that clearly in Surah Hujurat and other things. But the distinction that is made in our deen is whether you believe or you don't believe. So it always goes back to the distinction is on truth and falsehood. And believing is to do with truth, and falsehood is about having the multiple gods and having about other things. So it highlights the signs of Allah's existence, His power in the creation of the universe, and then the importance of gratitude to Him. You know, when we go back to and look at Surah Fatiha at the very beginning, and we start with Alhamdulillah. What is Alhamdulillah? Alhamdulillah is about praise, incorporating the gratitude, the deep gratitude. And you know, we were just talking the other day, when you have that sort of faith inside you, you automatically come forth with, at every level, Alhamdulillah. Yes, God forbid you had a accident, anything, but you come back to Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, we came out of it alive, and whatever. And look at it, when there have been people being shaheed, babies being shaheed, even then the mothers are saying Alhamdulillah, Allah, as long as you accept from us. So that is a big thing. And let me just go on to the one of the main themes is the concept of mercy and forgiveness. So it's seeking Allah's forgiveness, turning to Him, and also the traits of the righteous, and then also warning against what the behavior of the wicked, of how they do it. So again, guidance, wisdom, significance of understanding and implementing in teaching in our lives daily, and the beautiful lessons and values of of how believers are inspired to deepen their spiritual connection with Allah and live in a life. So I'll stop there just as a real small intro to it, and inshallah after a short break we'll come back. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we're just doing an overview of Surah Furqan and how it's means distinction, criteria of how to distinguish between right and wrong. So now I'm just going to give you a brief rundown of how sometimes surahs are, for us to look at it even when we are reading. So it's from ayah 1 to 9 forms a section, let's say. Sometimes it corresponds to how you have a ruku, which is that ain at the side of your Quran to show you this is what you read, and maybe that corresponds to how people read it in Taraweeh, how the Huffaz read it in Taraweeh. But what I have here is that the Quran is well, it starts with that it's the Quran is at Tabarakallah, the one who sent down the criteria, and it's an admonition for all of mankind. And the reference then is made to those who deny Tawheed, Akhirah, and they think it's just something invented, and he stood around and somebody helped him do it and everything. Asatirul Awwaleen, it's the things of the past in ayah 4, and how can it be? You know, that's the juz of it, and so it's talking about the propaganda that the opponents of the Prophet used to lead people astray. And this is what it is Islam. You know, those who come to Islam time and again say it's such a beautiful religion, but it's just this blooming propaganda that has taken us so far from it, and so on. So and just for you to know, when we sort of did it, the main theme of Makki surahs is on Tawheed, Risala, and Akhirah. The whole Quran is on primarily those three things. But in Makki Quran, this is highlighted more because the Quraysh, okay, believed in a God with the many gods they had cluttering the Kaaba. But thereafter, they, out of the Jews and Christians have a concept of the Akhirah, but the mushrik of Makkah did not believe in the Akhirah. And time and again, we have it in other surahs as well, Surah Hijr, I think, when we say, oh, are we going to be bones and, rot away? And then how are we going to be recreated? So here the emphasis is time and again in different ways. Akhirah has to be reminded to them, the concept of Akhirah and the concept of prophethood also. So that's on ayahs 1 to 9, and then these stupid things. Either they sometimes ask, why isn't an angel sent? Why is this messenger who eats and drinks like us? If you send an angel, then it is, why isn't it somebody one of us? Because we always relate to somebody who's similar to us. That's why also you'll notice for yourself in tafsirs and other things, whenever you hear a lecture, the person who is able to speak your language, your kind of lingo, of your era, of your things. So if we listen to somebody way back from the past, sometimes what often happens is that just the language doesn't gel for you, so you're not able to. So this is what here they're saying, how does he eat and walk with us? This is in ayah 7, and yet why hasn't an angel been sent? So Allah picks those objections of theirs to say, where are they going? Where are they going with this? So anyway, then beautifully, this surah, it starts with the Barakallazi in ayah 10, which I'm going to go into now. 10 to 14 are the answers given against the accusations leveled against the Prophet by his adversaries, and the real motivation of the animosity is alluded to. And then they, this is still a Makki surah, so our Rasul and the believers are still told to just have patience, and the evil end of the disbelievers will definitely come to pass. So have no fear on that. And so the reminder for us that the gardens and why he will be there and what will happen to the others. So as for those who don't fear the meeting, this is on ayah 21, those who don't fear meeting him, this is what's going to be their lot. So that's happened. Then and it continues. This is from the next bit, you can take note if you like, is from 10 to 34 forms another group. Then from 35 to 44, we have a reference to the history. You see, history is also given to you as a moment of ibra, as a reminder of, like, we have had Bosnia, we have had Chechnya, we have had Rohingya, we are having Uyghur. So all those are for you to, instead of getting pally with the kuffar, know ultimately this is the kind of things that happen. I'm using the modern day sort of current situations we might be able to relate to, but in essence, the point of the messengers is, it's as a reminder for the time when it was being revealed to the Quraysh, solace for Rasulullah, that even the messengers before have gone. For us too, it is equally significant if we think there are atrocities going on now. Hey, there have been atrocities going on through the era. Or what the Pharaoh did with, killing off all the newborn babies, related to what's happening now at a genocide level. So you need to keep having a bird's eye view of seeing, there's nothing new. I mean, for us to think, oh, life has changed, life is now so different and the challenges are so much. Even when you talk about, what's not politically correct to talk about LGBTQ, that's been down in history as well. Now, where these, you can do what you like, but the whole beauty of the Quran, if you look at it deeply, is how Allah dissects their argument and how He brings you back to core values of Tawheed and the truth. Elsewhere, we just did if it was not in Surah Hajj, one of those surahs of how truth will bang the brains of is hurled to falsehood, bashing its brains up. I think that's just such a beautiful example for us to remember too. Whenever we feel whatever is happening, the court case is going against us or not being relative, these are all dunya stuff. Allah is still listening and looking and all the rest. So those are the kind of things that we need to bear in mind. Next batch is 35 to 44, when I said like the history, and his responsibility is just to tell people and not to forcefully have them. And none of the prophets did that, but you forcefully bring them to deen. the free will is there. And 45 to 60, we have some arguments drawn around from the world around it on basic things, on akhirah and on tawheed. And that's what you have to do. After fulfilling your obligations, don't listen to them. We don't have to die trying to convince people, die taking court case upon court case. We've done it once, we've done it twice. Whatever we do, at the end of the day, it's Allah, tawakkalullah. Then from 61 to 77, we've got the days, and this is towards the end because it's 77 ayahs, and there too 67 beautifully again starts with Tabarakallazi. So 3 times is Tabarakallazi mentioned here. Is blessed he in 61, I'm just looking at constellations in the skies placed as a lamp, and so on. And because it's that and the night and day, the beautiful thing there also is relate the idea of Surah Nur, even though this pairs with Surah Shuara, but they actually pair with this. There is a consistent flow. We need to be looking at that, where Surah Nur ended, talking about light and so on. Here, the theme is further developed between light and dark. Okay, so again, being the believers, the ignorance and of knowledge of righteousness and sin, and of progress and degradation, and it will be told. So, and the beautiful thing is that Allah's best gift to us as humanity, as people, is this ability to distinguish right from wrong. And when we're able to do this, that's what free will enables us to do, is to distinguish. And then you can see also massively globally around the world that a concept of fairness, of justice, of abuse is visible as a basic fitrah of humanity. That should then lead you to Allah, to Tawheed, to Risala, that is there as well. So, but this right from wrong distinction is very clear. So I'm not just coming to the tail end of it, which I loved, and the passage I love best is in 63, when the servants of Allah who walk with humility, and when they address the ignorant ones, this is also a very key lesson for us, is that we address them and we say, Wajahilu, when they address the Jahilu, they say Qalu Salama. We say peace, you go your way, we go. We don't have to get engaged in deeper things than that. And after that is those who spend up their night in adoration, prostrating. This also occurred in Surah Nur. And the passage I love, but inshallah we'll go into a next session on that, is the Rabbanas that we have here, which is about for families, and so it's about wanting decent families. But inshallah, these are getting a bit short of the surahs, but I would like to take some time on it and go back into that. So I will take end it off here for today, and then pick up the theme in our next time when we will continue with Surah Furqan. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.